What's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. I haven't done a video since the Miguel Cotto Canelo Alvarez fight was over. Okay, I did a post-fight video for that, and that's really the last video I've done. All right, now there's some big fights that's come up since then. You had you had Fury beating Vladimir Klitschko. You had Danny Jacobs beating Peter Quillen. You had Anthony Joshua beating Dillian White. And some other fights, all this news with Golovkin and Canelo. And it's like, I'm going to be honest, man. It's really hard to find motivation to do these videos. The sport of boxing and the state it's in right now, where the politics kind of overshadow the actual fights. Someone asked me the other day, on Twitter. Okay, someone asked me the other day, well, what was your fight of the year? And I named some good fights, some fights I've really enjoyed, but there's no real, big fight that was, I could call fight of the year. No fighter, it's been some really good fights, but it hasn't been, a clear-cut, a fight of the year candidate for me, We had some solid matchups. We've had a lot of upsets, especially recently, and I'm going to speak on those in this video. But there hasn't really been no fight of the year candidates. We have some brawls that we've seen, like with the Edwin Rodriguez fight, and there's been a couple other fights. I know Chris Arreola recently had a fight that was, I didn't watch it, but I heard that it was another brawl. I just can't even give you a single fight that I love so much where it's timeless to me, that I'm going to be watching years down the line. There hasn't really been any of those fights, And then, we have the politics, the sanctioning bodies and the catch weights and, the contracts, the A and B side and all of this stuff, all of the fights that should be happening are not happening, especially in the middleweight division, and Tyson Fury getting stripped of the IBF. All of this stuff, is overshadowing the actual fights, And I watch the YTBC videos. I look on these websites, the boxing websites, and I see what the journalists are saying. I see what people say on social media. It's just no one is talking about nothing but the politics itself. Fights that should be getting made are not happening. This has been going on for quite some time now, but it's just so, this year, for some reason, it seemed like it's nothing but garbage going on. And it's hard to have motivation to do videos because I don't want to do videos where I'm complaining in 75% of my videos, and I see that on the YTBC a lot. There's no real debates going on who is better between two fighters. It's more like we're just sitting here talking about all the garbage that's going on between the networks and the promoters, and it's garbage. It's straight garbage. We can't even talk about the fights. I'm watching MMA. And you guys know, if you've been subscribed to me for a long time, I used to do MMA videos. I was just as much as a MMA fan before I started doing these boxing videos. I used to watch MMA almost just as much as I watched boxing. I've been watching MMA since the UFC days, the first UFC itself, and I kind of became more of a casual MMA fan because I just don't have time to really do MMA videos and do quality boxing videos at the same time. It's just too much. It's hard to have time to do boxing videos. But I've been watching it, and I was watching it last weekend because last weekend was such a big weekend with UFC 194 and Aldo and McGregor, and then you had Frankie Edgar fighting Chad Mendes, and it was a big fight. It was a lot of fights that weekend, and I'm watching it, and I'm watching the Friday night card with Chad Mendes and Frankie Edgar, right? And I don't know who's gonna win this fight because it's like such an even fight to me. I didn't, I'm more of a Chad Mendes fan. I'm more of a Chad Mendes fan. I wanted him to beat McGregor, but I really respect Frankie Edgar. Like, he's one of the hardest guys to beat in the game. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, it's crazy how the winner of this fight is gonna fight the winner of Aldo and McGregor. And even though Aldo beat both of these guys, and even though McGregor did recently beat Mendes, get off the couch Mendes. He didn't really fight a full camp Mendes. I'm like, damn, only if boxing was like where the two best guys in one division could fight, and whoever wins, then the two guys, the second and third place guy or the third and fourth place guy would fight the winner of the first, the two top guys. Only if boxing was really set up that way, where it's not. Like, you got fans that, and even you got fans now that's defending fights that should take place. Cotto and Canelo fight, and Triple G should be fighting the winner of that fight. He should be. Triple G should have fought the winner of Cotto and Martinez, but we didn't get that. Cotto and Gale, we didn't get that. And it's like, wow, I wish boxing was really set up that way, but now we have a new era where even fans itself, they want to see the fight, but they're defending the reason why the fight's not happening. The fight has to be built. It should be taking place a year from now or 2 years. You got to build a fighter, and the pay-per-views numbers were not high for this fighter. Like, you got fans that's sitting there, and all of this has been said before. It's just like, I'm just telling you how I feel. Like, there's no motivation to talk about boxing right now for me. I watch it, and some of the fights are good, but, it's just like, wow. Do I have to really just keep talking about all the garbage that's going on in this sport and all the bullshit? I don't even want to do it. I don't have the energy to do it, But, I don't want to keep ranting, but I wanted to speak on some things that's happened in the past few weeks. Not the major fights, not the Danny Jacobs fight, not the Anthony Joshua, not the Golovkin-Canelo mess, not Klitschko. I'll make separate videos for that. Even though they're late, it's cool. I'm not going to do no MMA videos and post-fight videos. I'm not doing that, so don't even ask me. I'm not doing, McGregor, and, I would love to talk about it, but you just hit me on Twitter. I'll talk to you Twitter, or I'll talk MMA on Twitter. I just don't want to do videos on MMA right now. But I wanted to speak on a few things. I wrote a list down of things, of some of the things that I missed that I really wanted to speak on the past few weeks. I wanted to start off with the Martin Murray fight with Arthur Abraham, okay? I didn't really see anyone talking about this fight like that, but it was something, it was sad to me watching this fight because, I feel like Abraham didn't do anything to win this fight. And I don't know how no one can see this. Like, if anyone thought the Paul Smith-Arthur Abraham fight, the first fight, was close, watch this fight. I mean, Martin Murray, and I picked Abraham to win the fight, so it's not like I'm just sitting here, giving myself all this credit for predictions that I made. I don't do that, I don't care if I'm wrong or right. It's just predictions. I just put them out there. But Arthur Abraham did absolutely nothing to win this fight. And it's been a few weeks now since I've seen the fight. But if you watch the fight, Martin Murray was the only busy fighter in this fight. I mean, Abraham in certain rounds was only fighting for 15-20 seconds of each round. I understand that Murray was doing a lot of holding, okay? But he was fighting, and he was actually backing up Abraham for the majority of the fight. We all know Abraham is the stronger, bigger puncher, more explosive, but he was rarely that in this fight. And if you go back and watch the fight, please watch this fight. At least please watch the first round of this fight. I remember them putting the punch stats at the end of the first round, going into the second round, and it said Martin Murray threw a total of 20 punches, whereas Abraham had like 22. Martin Murray threw more than 20 punches within the first minute of the fight. So it's like the setup was in place for Abraham to win this fight. Okay? No matter what Martin Murray did in this fight, he was not going to win this fight if it went to the scorecards, which it was, because there's no way Martin Murray would knock out Arthur Abraham. The commentary was terrible. All they did was talking about how Martin Murray needs to do more, because it's not going, what he's doing is not going to be enough to stop Arthur Abraham. They never actually spoke on what Abraham is doing to actually win the fight. You know, I think Abraham might have won 3 rounds maybe in that fight, you know, and he still got the decision win. Terrible, terrible robbery, in my opinion. I didn't see anyone really speaking on it. I'm sure most people didn't watch it, you know, especially here, because it's an international fight and it's not really that big of a deal here. But I seen the fight and I was highly disappointed. Let's move on. James DeGale, Lucian Bute, great fight. I did not do a prediction video. Leading towards a fight, I thought DeGale was going to knock Bute out, okay? I thought DeGale was going to do better than, what's his name? John Pascal did against him. You know, Lucian Bute already got knocked out by Froch. This was the first fight, outside even the fights that Bute has won over the years, this is the first time that I seen Bute look like Lucian Bute that was undefeated, you know, from years ago. Like, I never seen him look this good. He gave DeGale a great fight. DeGale won the fight, but he gave DeGale, I really, really enjoyed this fight. Like, I watched it twice. I enjoyed the fight. You know, I watched it on my cell phone when it was live. So I did go back home and watch it again. I really enjoyed that fight. Even though Bute lost the fight, I think I don't think he is retiring, but I really hope he stays in the game. I would like to see more fights of him. He took some big shots, but he kept the pressure on DeGale. Gave DeGale a hell of a fight, a much better fight than even Durrell gave him. And I really enjoyed the fight. It was very competitive. And I hope he doesn't retire. And I hope we see more of that, because I haven't seen Lucian Bute look that good in a long time. Okay, even with the loss. All right. And it's funny. It's so sad because, you know, what's up with James DeGale? Like, the guy is a really good fighter, yet no one really cares about him. You know, I don't see anyone talking about him. Like, why was no one pressing for that Andre Ward fight? You know, I really wanted to see that fight. And, you know, it seemed like people just got comfortable with just claiming that Andre Ward is the king of the division, yet he hasn't really fought anyone recently. You know, we got new champions in there, and I was just disappointed that they never got the fight. You know, 2 Olympic gold medalists. It just made sense. I would have really loved to see that fight. And Ward is moving up to 175, which is cool. But I know those last 2 guys he tried to get in the ring with before the fight got canceled, they were both 168 fighters. So, you know, I don't understand why Ward just never fought this guy. That would have been a real good fight. You know, I didn't even think DeGale was going to beat Durrell, but DeGale has proven to me like he's really an elite fighter. It seems like, especially on the YTBC, no one really talks about him except The Wire. You know, The Wire thinks, if you subscribe to The Wire, you know The Wire thinks that James DeGale is like the greatest fighter on the planet. But I think I would have really loved to see that fight. Roy Jones getting knocked out again. You know, I don't really know what to say, you know, because I didn't do no prediction video. You know, I knew Roy Jones was gonna get knocked out. You know, as soon as he didn't fight a guy that was going to lay down, you know, for him. I knew as soon as he stepped up in competition, he was gonna get knocked out again. You know, because he's only getting older, and he's fooling himself if he thinks he's Bernard Hopkins or he's getting better. You know, for him to get knocked out. His skill level is good, but it's not on a level. He's not a technician like some of these other guys. And a lot of his skill set is based off athleticism. We all know that. And he doesn't have it anymore. I don't know what it's going to have to take. I feel, unfortunately, because Roy Jones is my second favorite fighter of all time besides Mike Tyson. And it's unfortunate, but I feel like it's going to really take Roy Jones to really get hurt for him to stop fighting, you know? Obviously, I don't want that to happen, but he doesn't want to retire, man. And, like, what are you doing at this point? You got the money. Like, why do you continue fighting, you know? You're getting knocked out, and now you lose this fight, and now you're going to downgrade again the level of opposition. You're out there fighting in Russia. They love you out there. You're going to downgrade again and beat a couple of bums. And maybe not even beat a couple of bums, because you got to fight a couple of bums that are, you know, one of these guys ain't going to just go in there and lay down for you. One of these guys are going to be good enough to want to try to knock you out themselves, you know. And like, what does it take for this guy to lose? Why can't he just win? You know, if he's not going to retire, just fight one more bum. Just go out or, you know, getting another knockout and just retire. Like, why do you keep fighting? I don't know. I mean, he really loves to fight. I mean, I guess I can't relate, but I just don't want this guy to really leave the ring in the stretcher. You know, I feel like it's going to happen if he keeps fighting. Clottey versus Rosado's coming up this weekend. I really love Gabe Rosado. I love the fight that he's one of those fighters that proves that no matter how many times you lose, you always gonna get a good fight with a good payday. I mean, you even got a movie. You're in the Creed movie, you know. With all the losses, he's still getting fights, and he's still getting opportunities, and he's still headlining and fights in the Barclays, like, you know. But he's taking fights that he's likely to lose. Like, Clottey has a good chance of beating him, you know. Clottey brings the pressure. I mean, I know he's getting up there in age, but Clottey is a tough fight. Outside of that Pacquiao fight, Clottey has always looked tough in his fights. And I don't know what Gabe is going to do. I think he can win the fight. I think he could have beaten some of the other guys. You know, I think he could have beaten Corner if the fight continued. You know, I think he beat Leon Love, you know. He's giving these guys a tough fight. You know, he survived a good amount of time against Golovkin, you know, but even though Golovkin had the flu, I think, in that fight. Gabe is a tough fighter. I don't know. I can't pick him to win. I picked him a win in other fights. You know, I thought he was gonna outbox Lemieux. You know, I don't know. I got to see the win happen in order for me to think he's back or something. These are all tough fights he's taking. Clottey can beat him too, man, and stop him on cuts as well. You know. Ortiz versus Jennings. I did a prediction video. I picked Ortiz. Lately, I've been leaning a little bit more towards Jennings, you know, because Ortiz fought nothing but garbage up to this point. And the fights always stop early. You know, he's 36 years old. I don't know if he could go the distance, you know. I know he got caught up with the PED thing after beating, what's this guy name? I can't remember his name right now. But I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Jennings. I think Ortiz has more the skill set, you know, and he's the bigger puncher. But I think if Jennings used his movement, you know, circling around him, frustrating, and try to take him down in the second half of the fight, I think he has a good chance of winning. I said all this in my prediction video. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards Jennings, but at the same time, I'm saying to myself, I should just stick with what I picked at first. But I think Jennings could win if he can get Ortiz past 6 rounds. You know, I think early on Ortiz is gonna win the rounds. I think later on Jennings is gonna come back. Use his range. He has a really, really long reach. Use his jab, keep moving. I think he can win the fight. It's just that I don't think Jennings takes a little too long to get it going sometimes, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to go. I picked Ortiz in a prediction, so I'm going to stick with that, man. But I don't know. Lately, I've been leaning towards more Jennings, and it's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. All right? Everybody seems to be overlooking Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders. Everybody, when Jacobs won, it seems like everybody just wanted the Jacobs-Lee fight, And that fight, I don't even know how that is a unification match, because Jacobs is only the regular WBA champ. He is not the super. Gennady Golovkin is a super. But anyway, listen. I think Lee and Saunders is a 50-50 fight. Saunders have the youth, the hand speed, the athleticism advantage. He's going to be... I think he's going to win rounds against Lee, I think if it goes to decision, Saunders got it. But Lee is going to be setting him up the whole fight. He's going to be looking to set a trap and counter this kid and get him out of there with that right hook. And it's going to be the fight is going to go either one or two ways, in my opinion. I think either Saunders is very capable of hurting Andy Lee, because Andy Lee is kind of chinny. So, let's not forget, Saunders did knock out Gerard Fletcher when he was undefeated. Saunders do got some knockouts on his belt. Not huge knockouts, but I'm just saying Andy Lee is chinny, okay? But he recovers well, and he's also dangerous when he's hurt. I think Saunders is going to either win by decision or Lee is going to win by knockout, okay? Because Lee is more technical. He's more experienced. All right, he moves well on his feet. Defensively, he's pretty good. And he's good at setting up traps. And I think he will be trying to do that the entire fight. Saunders could be winning the first 3, 4, 5 rounds based off activity. And out of nowhere, this guy could just counter him, hit him with a right hook, and get Saunders out of there. I wouldn't bet on this fight. If you're a betting guy, I just wouldn't bet on this fight, Great matchup, though. I think everybody's underestimating Billy Joe Saunders. I don't see many people talking about Saunders winning this fight. What else is there to talk about? Bradley versus Pacquiao 3. Not really. I don't really care for it. I won't be mad if it happens, but I don't want to really see it. I don't really want to see the fight. I want Pacquiao to fight Amir Khan, or I really wanted that fight. I really wanted to see Pacquiao fight Amir Khan. Bradley, I really want to see him fight one of the top welterweights. I want to see him fight Kell Brook, or one of the PBC fighters. I mean, that's not going to happen, but I'm just saying that's what I want to see. I don't want to see this fight again. I'm tired of seeing these fights, man. Pacquiao and Marquez were better fights than the Bradley fight. So it made a little bit more sense, because it seems like Marquez always had Pacquiao's number, even though Pacquiao historically is the better fighter as far as resume. But Bradley, the fights were good, but then they weren't great. They both had better fighters with fights with other fighters, and I don't really care for it like that. I wanted to see Pacquiao fight Amir Khan, or Maidana or something. I don't really want to see the fight like that. Bradley, I really want to see him fight Kell Brook. You know, the fight can happen. It's possible. You know, even Pacquiao fight Terrence Crawford. That would be cool. I wouldn't be mad at that neither. You know. Victor Ortiz. I hope if Brandon Rios really comes back, I hope he fights Victor Ortiz. These guys hate each other. And I think this is a fight that Brandon Rios would actually train for, like going into a 2-month, at least 2-3 months camp and train for this fight. No, not going there like he did against Tim Bradley. I mean, Tim Bradley deserves the credit for that win, but Brandon Rios didn't look like he was well prepared for the fight at the same time. Not trying to take anything away from Tim Bradley's victory, but Brandon Rios just didn't look like himself in that fight. Okay. And then you, on top of that, you're fighting a more motivated Tim Bradley. You know, he has a new trainer. It seems like mentally he went into the fight really wanted to prove something. I would love to see that fight. Victor Ortiz beating a bunch of bums on PBC. I don't really care for that. You know, Victor Ortiz Berto rematch, that would be cool too. Like, those are fights, are good fights that can happen. You know, I'm not sure. Ortiz and Rios, I'm not really too sure, but Ortiz and Berto would be a good fight. You know, Algieri just beat Bonet. He should fight like a Berto, you know, or Victor Ortiz. That would be good. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing those. You know, Wilder versus Splica. I like the fight. I know everyone wants to see Povetkin. Some of you, I've seen you guys say in comments, you got to understand that Povetkin does not want to fight Wilder right now. All right? He wanted another fight. They weren't prepared to fight Wilder, okay, right away. Okay, even after the walk fight. All right? So you got to understand that Wilder is not ducking Povetkin. I know a lot of you guys don't like Wilder, okay? But be fair. Povetkin doesn't want the fight right away, okay? He's going to fight him hopefully by this summer, this spring, this summer. But I like the Splica fight. I know Splica lost to Jennings, okay? He got stopped by Jennings, but Splica's a good fighter. I think Wilder will knock him out. But Splica is a good, solid fighter. You know, southpaw. Got some good knockouts in there. He has some good fights. You know, if you watch his other fights, a lot of back and forth. You know, a lot of knockdowns. He has some good, really good fights. I can't remember all of them, but I remember watching his fights, you know, in the past where he has some good fights. I like Splica. He stays in shape. He's always fit. Very dedicated to staying fit. And I want to see the fight. I follow him on social media. I follow him on Instagram. So, you know, I be watching the guy. I like him. You know, I think it's a good fight. Especially in a fight where they only had a month to really make the announcement of the fight. You know, it's going to be in New York. You know, maybe I'll try to go. I don't know. You know, I mean, you know, it'll be cool, I guess, to go to a fight with Wilder in New York. But it's not a bad fight. Like, it's not a bad fight at all. I have no problems with this fight. And the last thing I'm going to do in this video, is a long video. I apologize, but, you know, I just wanted to clear some stuff up. Amir Imam, okay, Adrian Granados. I never seen Adrian Granados before. You know, I seen Fair Shake made a video saying that Granados was not a bum before the fight. He had some arguments with some other people on the YTBC. But I, myself, never seen him. I didn't know what to expect going into this fight. I've never really spoke on Amir Imam. I only made one video where I brought him up when I made a video on 140. The Four Kings at 140. If you didn't see that video, check that video out. I broke that down. I thought, and when I made that video at that time, I thought Lamont Peterson was still fighting at 140. So I made a mistake of including him in that discussion. But I did talk about Victor Postal, Terrence Crawford, and all the top fighters at 140, Adrian Broner. Okay. Amir Imam never really was my personal favorite. I said that in this video. I thought his defense was always bad. He has plenty of time. He's young. A bad loss. Yeah, he got sparked out. But, I mean, the kid is still young. I think what he should have done in a fight, I've seen him be more of a boxer, be more of a mover. He needed to be that in this fight. he shouldn't have been slugging out with Granados at the end of the day. And his corner really wasn't telling him what to do, what they should have been telling him. And he lost the fight, you know. It's crazy. I don't think it's that much of an upset because it really depends on, obviously it's an upset, but it really depends on how good you thought Amir Imam was. You know, there was somebody that left a comment in that video that said that Amir Imam was better than Crawford and Postal. Like, what? Like, I mean, it is what it is. You know, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But, I mean, come on, you know? Like, it's getting crazy. Like the kid didn't fight no one yet, you know? He didn't fight anyone yet. You know, and me personally, I mean, as far as the eye test is concerned, I mean, the kid got skills. I mean, he's fun to watch because he really fights. He gets it in, but he's not much of a technician. His defense is really not that good, and we seen that in this fight. Granados hit him with everything he threw. He was landing 3, 4, 5 punch combinations on Amir Imam, you know? So the kid is still young. Let him grow. It's not a big deal. It's not over for him. You know, people love when Don King fighters lose. I saw everybody slandering Don King. Let the kid work. Let the kid learn from this loss. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he does, you know, as far as his trainer, his camp, I don't know. You know, maybe hopefully his camp, they need some better chemistry because his camp was definitely not telling him what he needed to hear at the end of that or in between rounds in that fight. But that's it, man. It's a long video. I still got other things to talk about. I'm going to speak on the Golovkin-Canelo situation. I'm going to still speak on Joshua, Dillian White. I'm going to speak on Peter Quillen and Jacobs. I'm going to speak on Klitschko and Fury. And I want to speak about Keith Thurman, too. You know, I'm going to speak on him, too. I'm going to speak on him because I don't know where he's at right now. All right, so make sure y'all subscribe, like, dislike, do whatever, you know, and be on the lookout for the next video soon to come. Peace.